Hello everyone, welcome back to the channel. It's I, Dave the Tabletop Wanderer, and we are back with some more Cairn 2nd edition, and we are continuing with our story of Leda, Cairn, Beric and Light. And last time we were here, we found a ranger. So our party, they went over the bridge here and they found... they came upon some standing stone circles and they saw a ranger who was fighting off some drow raiders. And that's where we are going to start off this episode straight away. Without further ado, let's get into it. So the party, they see this ranger fighting two drow warriors, and Cairn turns to the party and says, we should go and help him. We should go and help that ranger. And Light turns to her and says, he doesn't need help. He's got it. Don't worry. And Beric turns to him and goes, but Light, you know, drows, they're really tough, you know. They're hard. They hit hard and they're pretty complicated fellows. And Light turns to them and goes, I said he doesn't need help. And as they're all standing there, with the two guards that are still alive, and the caravan, the wagon, they're looking at this ranger who is fighting the drows, and they can see that the drows are coming up upon him, and he takes out an arrow from his quiver, and he knocks it into the bow, and the arrow flies true and straight and hits one of the drows right in the center of its chest, making it go down to its knees. It just thumps to its knees. And as that happens, he drops his bow and he runs straight for the other drow, and he takes out his long sword and he just goes straight up to it and just says, and slices the drow in half. Well, he stabs it and then slices. So it's a stab and slice move. Okay, he got a nat 20 on that. As he's wiping off the blood, sort of greenish sort of blood that the drow has, he's wiping it off on his cloak. He's wiping the blood off the sword on his cloak. He turns around and he sees the party looking at him, and his eyes fixate on Light. And he sheathes his sword, moves towards them. As he goes, he picks up his bow, shoulders the bow, and goes straight for Light and says, what are you doing here? And Light turns to him, nothing, just passing by. Oh, is that so? I thought you missed me. And as he says that, everyone's like the other three, Leda, Cairn, and Beric, they're looking at each other and wondering, what does he mean by that? And Light turns to the ranger, goes, you wish. The ranger turns to him and says, okay then, go on your way. You know what happened last time? And Beric turns to the party and goes, let's move. There's nothing here for us. But is there something there for them? Let's see. Let me grab the GME and see if we can find something a bit more about our newfound friend, sort of. Let's see. 1617 says NPC conversation focused. Let's see. 16 and 17 right here. Okay. What I'm thinking of doing is, let's grab these. Let's try and find out a bit of info on what is happening. So we know that Light is or was a march guard, and this ranger seems to know who Light is. were they companions, like colleagues in the March Guard? Let's roll this. Let's see what this says. No, but they were not colleagues. So the Ranger and Light were not colleagues. But I think that's how you spell colleagues. I don't know. But what? Let's see. So if we go to the oracle here, no but, roll on the verb and noun table. Okay, let's get the verb and noun table right here, and let's grab these. So first off, the verb, we get a 37, and 37 says celebrate. Okay. Celebrate good times, come on. And for the noun, 63. 63, Oasis. Celebrate Oasis. And I'm not thinking it's the band Oasis. I don't think so. Celebrate Oasis in here. Okay. What can this mean? Okay. They weren't colleagues. But let's say that in a long time ago, these two met up in an oasis. So Light was in the March Guard, and for some reason he was out in the desert, right? And he found an oasis, and this Ranger also found an oasis. They both found this oasis in the middle of the desert. And let me see. Let me roll some more things. Let me see. What can we use here for okay, what I'll say, I'll just go with a simple thing, which is, okay, Light and this Ranger fella, they found this oasis in the middle of the desert, and they started to celebrate because they found it. They were a long way away from civilization. They were already out in, I'd say, a couple of days out in the desert without anything, but each of them came their own separate way, and they coincidentally met up at the oasis, and that's why they were celebrating there. But something happened there. What could have happened? Can we go in here? Unexpected. Okay, random generator. I'm looking at this, and an NPC ambushed by enemies. Clue to main quest found. Dangerous creatures appear. Environmental hazard. I'm going more with environmental hazard or a magical phenomenon occurs. Oh, wait, I got it. Theft of a lost item. I'm not even going to roll on that because I got that. And what triggered both of them was there was a theft. I'm going to say that this item belonged to the Ranger. The item belonged to the Ranger, right? So as they found the oasis, they celebrate, they sort of made friends, right? They became friends and brothers in arms sort of thing, because they were like lost in the desert, and they made their way to civilization. And along the way, a personal item for the Ranger disappeared. And the ranger blames Light for that missing, for the item that was missing. So what was the item? Let's see if we can find, right? And hopefully you guys can see that without the glare. Yeah, okay. And let's go D20. Let's roll that. And the item was a 9. And 9 says a piece of shell with a pearl inside. Ooh, okay. And that is sort of like a last, we should say, a last gift that the ranger's mother or father or someone really close to him gave him. And on the way from the oasis to civilization, the piece of shell disappeared. And the ranger has always blamed, so the ranger always blamed Light of the theft. Now, did Light take the shell or not? We don't know. We shall see. Our party looks on as the ranger walks off. He starts making his way up the road. So we found him here, and he started making his way up the road. And our party just look at each other, and Light is already a couple of steps forward and stops, turns back, and goes, "What are you guys waiting for? Get a move on." And they're off. We need to go to our tracker, right? And knock off a watch. So it is nighttime right here, and our party makes up camp. So we can say they're right here on the border of the regions, and they set up camp. And they're in camp. The tents are all set up. One of the guards is sleeping. The other one's on watch duty, so he's looking out for monsters and stuff. And Letta, she's dozed off around the fireplace. She's dozed off. And Beric, he's got his tools out and he's shaping something out of a piece of wood. Who knows? Maybe a little doll, something like that. And on the other side of the fire, there's Jean and Light. And Jean turns to Light and says, "Light, who was that fella? You know, the one that we met, that ranger who took out the drow so easily." And Light turns to her, "Oh, no one important." And Jean says, "Well, he is important. The way he talked to you and the way you talk to him, it's like you guys know each other." And Light says, "Yeah, we've met before." She says, "Well, come on, man, spit it out. Hurry up, we haven't got all night." And he goes, "Okay. A couple of years ago, I was hired to go to this city on the other side of the region. So it's something not on this map. And I was on a sort of a diplomatic mission of sorts to see if we can get in the good graces of the other lord. And on the way back, everything went well. The meeting went well. We got some things all done. Everything was hunky dory. And on the way back, there's this part that you have to go through a bit of, just the edge of the desert. And I got hit with a sandstorm. And in the middle of the sandstorm, I lost my way. Next thing I know, I'm 4 days out. Rations are nearly gone. Water is nearly gone. probably had like ration for another day, water for about half a day, or, if I didn't drink that much, more than half a day. And things were getting grim. On the 5th day, more or less, I see this thing at the end, like floating on the horizon, and it looked like a tree. So I just headed straight for it. I didn't know if it was civilization, didn't know what it was. It could have been mirage or something, a hallucination, something like that. But as I got closer, I saw that it was an oasis in the middle of the desert. It's like a big lagoon, fresh water, palm trees, And so I ran straight for it. And as soon as I get there, there's this other fella there. And he's got this makeshift camp set up. I call out, and who do I see? I see this fella. And he picks up his bow, and he points it straight at me with an arrow. And I said, wait, I'm friendly, dude, I'm friendly. I'm not here to hurt anyone. I just want a bit of water, just want to rest up, and I'll be on my way. And, apprehensively, he lets me come in. He lowers his bow a bit. We never take our eyes off each other. As time goes by, a couple of hours, we start talking. And apparently, he got hit with the same sandstorm I did. It looked like it was a big major sandstorm. It hit the desert all over. And he found his way to the oasis also. He'd been there for a couple of hours before I got there. We started to look around, and when night time came, we looked at the stars and we got our bearing. And we thought, okay, the both of us agreed, let's go down that way. We'll go a bit to the west and see if we can find civilization. All the while, he told me that we told each other stories and stuff like that, and he showed me this sort of seashell thing with a pearl on it, encased in sort of resin. And he said it was his mother's parting gift before she died. And it was his most prized possession. So the next day, we got up and we left. Luckily, my horse was still alive by this time. So, poor horse, he had to carry all our stuff. And we made our way. And 2 days later, we start seeing signs of civilization. We start seeing rock formations and this sort of Alps and this sort of canyon thing in front of us with a valley in the middle. And up top, we can see some towers, some watchtowers. And we just looked at each other and started laughing. We had made it through the desert. Don't know how. Maybe the gods were smiling on us that week. And as we got closer to the entrance of the canyon, we stopped and we said, well, we're going to be parting ways here. And this dude, the ranger, he puts his hand inside his pack, and the shell is missing. And that's when it all broke out. He accused me of stealing his shell. I said I didn't have the shell, had no need for the shell, but he didn't believe me. And we got into a bit of a fight there until I guess someone up in the watchtowers saw all this happening down below, and a detachment of guards came and separated us. And yeah, they were the march guards. And even though they searched everywhere on my possessions and everything, they didn't find the shell. But nevertheless, I got sort of fired from the march guard because of that, because I had, how should I say, tainted their reputation. And yeah, here we are. And that's about it. I was accused of something I didn't do. And lost my job, lost my livelihood, and I've been running around job to job, getting paid some copper and silver when I was making a pretty good wage. And Letta took all that, Jean took all that in and says, but did you take the shell? Light turns to her, looks her straight in the eyes. What do you think? Do you think that I'm a thief? And Jean, she throws up hands and goes, no, wait, no. I'm just curious, that's all. It sounded like it was pretty worthy. It's worth some gold coin. Yeah, it was worth some gold coin, but at the time I didn't need gold coin. You get it, Jean? I had a wage. I was getting well paid being a march guard. It was after that I lost my wage. Okay. So they continue talking and stuff like that. Now, let's see if something happens. An encounter of sorts. I'm going to roll D6. And on a 1, during the night, they got interrupted. No, they did not. Okay, they did not get interrupted. And the next morning, they wake up, break camp, and they continue their journey down the road towards Wyvern Hill. Wyvern Mill, that's the name. And that's where we're going to stop right here. We got a bit of backstory on Light. And we will continue this on the next episode. I want to thank you all for watching. Thank you all for those that have subscribed. Welcome everyone new. I think we're up at 560, which is amazing. Getting to 500 is awesome, but getting an extra 60, amazing. Thank you all for subscribing. Don't forget to like, comment down below. If you haven't subscribed, subscribe and hit the bell. And I'll see you all on the next episode. Okay, we'll see what our party has in store for them over the last length of the travel. Okay, have a great one, and bye-bye.